This is the last thing I remember. I'm saying that carefully, because memory isn't reliable anymore. Not for me. I remember sitting in a chair. It wasn't a special chair, not an important moment. It was just a chair in a room I knew well enough to stop paying attention to it. And that's usually when things happen, isn't it? When you stop paying attention. The light was on, casting a familiar, soft glow. The clock on the wall was ticking. A steady, comforting rhythm. Everything felt so normal, so utterly forgettable. I was trying to remember something. That's the part that matters. There was a thought, right at the very edge of my mind. It felt important, urgent. The kind of thought that makes you freeze, makes you stop moving so it doesn't slip away. So, I closed my eyes. Just for a second. To focus. To grab it. When I opened them, the room felt different. Not wrong, exactly. Just incomplete. The clock was still there, on the wall. But the ticking had stopped. The second hand hung frozen between two numbers, like it was waiting for permission to continue. I tried to stand up. Or, I thought about standing up. My body hesitated, not from pain, but from this deep, fundamental confusion. Like it wasn't sure what step came next in the sequence of standing. That's when I noticed the silence. And I don't mean it was quiet. I mean it was a true, profound silence. The kind that presses against your ears until you become acutely aware of your own heartbeat. A frantic drum in a soundless void. I called out. Just my own name. It came out as a whisper, and it sounded distant. Like an echo of something that had already happened long ago. The walls of the room seemed to breathe. One moment they were farther apart, the next they were closing in. I couldn't tell which was real. Depth perception felt optional, like a rule that no longer applied. I looked down at my hands. They were there. I could see them. But they felt delayed. When I flexed my fingers, the sensation of the movement arrived a moment later. It was as if my body was receiving instructions from somewhere far away, and there was a lag in the connection. And that's when the remembering stopped. Abruptly, like someone had slammed a door shut in my mind. I tried to think harder, to push past that door. That was a mistake. A pressure began to build behind my eyes. It wasn't pain. It was a feeling of compression. Like a thought being folded over and over, too tightly, until it might just break. Then, a voice spoke. It wasn't aloud. It wasn't inside my head, either. It came from somewhere in between. It said, "You don't need that part anymore." My mouth went dry. My heart hammered against my ribs. "What part?" I asked, my voice barely a crackle in the oppressive silence. The voice didn't answer right away, but the pressure behind my eyes eased. Something had been removed. Cleanly, surgically. I felt lighter, calmer. And that was the most terrifying part. It felt so wrong. I tried to remember my last conversation. The memory wasn't there. Just a blank space. I tried to remember my last meal. Gone. I tried to remember my last name. And there it was. A smooth, unquestioned void where it should be. A gap in my own identity. The panic came late. Delayed, just like everything else. A cold wave washing over me. "Give it back," I said, the words clumsy and weak. The room didn't respond. The silence didn't break. But it shifted, somehow. It felt heavier. More intentional. "You asked us to keep it," the voice said again. And this time, it was gentle. Almost kind. "I didn't," I whispered. "I would never." Another pause. Longer this time. The silence stretched, pulling everything taut. "You will." That's when I noticed the chair again. The one I had been sitting in. It was closer now. Or maybe I was closer to it. It was just there, waiting. I didn't remember standing up. I didn't remember walking across the room. But suddenly I was sitting. Back in the chair, the lights hummed. The clock ticked. The room felt normal again. Too normal. Deceptively normal. And then, a thought rose in my mind. It felt familiar. Urgent. It was right there, on the edge of my consciousness, demanding to be known. I tried to hold on to it. I really, truly did. But the silence leaned in. Patient. Ready. A quiet predator. This is the last thing I remember. If you're hearing this, then I didn't keep it. The memory, the thought, whatever it was, it's gone. And whatever took the rest of me is already here with you. It's in the quiet moments. It's in the pauses between your thoughts. And it's already asking you, gently, what you're willing to forget.